Okay, guys, welcome to another episode of Family Fridays. We have my friend Holly Longstreet with us today and her son Evan. So, Holly, please introduce Evan.
Sure, this is Evan, and he is going to be entering the eighth grade this year. We're excited to start that process.
That is amazing. Yeah, you guys are in summer break. I forgot about that. I summer
Well,
break is a fun time.
well, technically
But
we have 1 week left, but we'll see.
oh, well, it's 1 week. You're good. So
They're
on
not doing much in school anyway.
Family Fridays, we talk about the environment, social justice, and what it means to you. So, my first question is, what are you guys learning in school about the environment or social justice?
Well, for certain classes, we don't really go into that much department, but the closest thing we do have to that is science, because in our recent units, we've been discussing energy efficient ways of powering. Because And recently, we've also been doing something called a roof modification, where it's basically we're planting a simulation, and it's where a city has like 16,000 tons of combustion of all that junk in the air. And anyways, it said that
It
like
is, Jim.
a large percentage of that was from heating or cooling houses, and the energy from that is always coming from fossil fuels or nuclear energy, which can both produce very bad items,
Wow.
which can harm the environment. If any of you have heard of Chernobyl, you can see how dangerous it can be. And fossil fuels are almost equally as bad because the stuff doesn't really leave; it just stays in the air. So basically, we've been researching two forms of roof modifications to help limit this: whitely painted roofs and solar panels. Each of them have their own downsides. White roofs aren't as well just powerful as solar panels are because they don't really harvest as much energy from the sun, and they only reflect a like 50% of the energy that's being produced on houses. Now, this simulation is supposed to take place in Arizona, which can get pretty hot at times. So, so white roofs would normally be a good idea because it can reflect like 50%, which can really help. But at the same time, like then over time you're going to have to repaint it over and over again, and it can just cost a lot of money. Now, solar panels has its own downside too. Solar panels, they produce a lot of energy, but what if the day is cloudy and it's just humid out? There's like no deflecting it there. Also, solar panels may require like a decent amount of maintenance whenever setting them up, and they can be quite expensive at times. Now, another factor that our school has put into the modifications is something called historic value. Now, certain houses that they want to preserve, try to not introduce any of this new stuff, try to keep it as realistic and old as possible. So we have to count that into perspective too. So we kind of have to leave a few original old things like just around there, which will still produce combustion. But as long as we keep like adding in solar panels, white roofs, whatever the heck ever modification we need, we're good.
That was remarkable. Evan, you are probably one of the smartest young men I have ever met. Have you heard of the Nobel Peace Prize or Mensa? Because you're a candidate for both.
I can go into explanation of a lot of things.
And very well, very concise, very informative, brilliant. Now, next question is, what would you like to see change that you see with respect to how we are treating the environment or how we're treating social justice?
Well, first things first, for the environment, we have there's like 10 billion cars like around the world. I believe there's like more cars than humans, maybe. I don't know if that's true, but it could be. So,
Okay.
and cars produce like a lot of extra fossil fuels, which not only is the heating and cooling process consume it, but because there are like so many of these cars around the world, it can really have an impact on our society. And maybe not for this generation or the next one, but maybe a few generations after that, then humans are going to be kicking themselves in the butt for not really actually paying attention to any of this stuff because it's all going to build
Exactly.
up. Now the climate impact, it doesn't really just make things like warmer. All it does is intensify normal, let's say, natural disasters. For example, like hurricanes are going to get worse due to the amount of like heat and moisture. Fires are going to outbreak more often. Basically, we're basically just adding more gunpowder to a TNT. So if we can stop that and keep it to like where it regularly goes, then we're good. Now, one of the surprising things that is, I've seen a video once before that said that there was a country that had a different type of fuel that had reduced the climatic impact. I'm not sure what it was called, but it was a substitute for gasoline, and it somehow managed to fuel hundreds of thousands of cars in that country.
Well, we'll have to research that. That's brilliant.
Yeah, we have to go into that. Also, another thing that we need to introduce is cheaper electric cars. One of the reasons why people don't get electric cars is because they're stupid expensive. Like a lot of fossil fuel cars are affordable, and electrical cars, they're much better for the environment, but not a lot of people can afford these. So what we need to do is find out how to lower the cost of these so more people can get them, and so we can have overall just less of an ecological impact.
I absolutely agree. And I've spoken to several people about the cost of electric vehicles, the cost of charging, how long it takes to charge. Some people don't like hearing that. They want only to hear the good things. So we do have to talk about both good and bad, or advantages and disadvantages of these cars. And a lot of people are also looking at hydrogen. I don't know if you've looked at hydrogen engines, but some people are making airplanes run in hydrogen, some cars, some larger trucks. So that's a pretty fascinating thing people are working on as well.
Well,
And
it's one of the few things that people can do to really stop to stop like so much energy from being wasted like that. For example, I mean, my family we do all of our fair share of ecological impact. We produce probably 3 times the amount of a normal family combustion, so I can't really be complaining. For example, we have like what, 5, 6 cars out back, like
They're classic cars.
so.
not going to hate on the classic
We can't
cars.
really be complaining, but we also need to do our part. And if we can find an alternative solution, I'd say go for it.
I agree. That is a brilliant statement. I love that. So what can you do? Which I have a feeling that we're going to hear a lot from you in the future, because you are so knowledgeable and so brave to talk about these things so clearly. A lot of 8th graders don't really like talking about it. I have a feeling we're going to be seeing a lot of you in the future. So what is it that you would like to do to change the way things are happening?
If there's one thing I'd like to do to change the way things are happening, it's to just outlaw the amount, to create like some sort of rule where you can have this maximum amount of energy production. You can't go over this, because a lot of houses can produce, or no, not produce, more like use a lot more energy than an average family would use. Let's say before this was really a problem. So there should be an energy limit to which each house could use, and instead just use that, stay within the boundaries so it doesn't produce too much fossil fuels. Because as the demand for electricity goes up, so does the amount of fossil fuels that are burning. And it's not like we have infinite of these. They're going to run out eventually. Maybe,
Yeah.
as I said before, not this generation, not next one. May go on, but once we're there, we're doomed.
You're right.
Because we run on this stuff.
Yeah, and as we convert over to green energy, we can use and consume as much as we want, as long as it's from wind or solar, geothermal, things that don't produce those greenhouse gases. But until we can do that, yeah, we do have to really limit how much we consume, because it's getting out of control. Between all the electricity we charge, all of the games that we play, that uses energy.
Yeah, especially the big cities within. Oh, hi, Gabrielle. Our cat's right here. Anyways, so basically the big cities, they're the top consumers. Because most of the people immigrating here, they search for new life and they go to a city, but if they don't like it there, they're stuck there. And they'll try to do something to make it as comfortable as possible, which can mean using more electricity.
Yes, very true. Well, Evan, this has been incredibly positive discussion. My day has been made, because you are one of the most intelligent young men I've ever spent talking to in my life.
Thank you.
Which is, Holly, good job. Good job.
It's all Evan.
Evan, keep studying, keep learning. Please make this your life career, because you are very, very good at this. So Keep studying. I love it. And with that, we'll say goodbye. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too.
And keep doing what you're doing. You're amazing. You're a rock star, kid.